Right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, nurse abuse from slaps to stabbings. The I-Team talks to hospital staff who say it's happening too often.
Close to triple digits today, and tomorrow the heat gets dangerous. I'm gauging the hottest times of the weekend to keep you safe during a heat advisory.
But first tonight, family of a 6-year-old boy who drowned at camp share their anger and sadness.
Absolutely miracle baby. He's a beautiful soul. He always smiles. He make everyone happy.
New details surrounding the death of the soon-to-be first grader. Tonight, a grieving grandmother is speaking out. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. Her 6-year-old grandson drowned at the Kennedy Recreation Complex in South St. Louis County. Just a few hours ago, the boy's grandmother shared her pain only with our Robert Townsend. Robert.
He was a beautiful soul. We were very connected. I love him very much.
LaBeouf Strauss says her 6-year-old grandson, Trevon, had an infectious smile that would light up any room. She says TJ was always curious, smart, and looking forward to going to a first grade gifted program in the fall.
He was advanced in math and verbal ability. He passed all tests. He always smiled. He make everyone happy.
But now, no one in the boy's family is happy.
It is so much grief that it's not can be described.
Strauss and her family cannot believe they are suddenly grieving their little loved one.
Just sad that this has happened to my grandson.
St. Louis County Police say around 1:30 Wednesday afternoon, they went to Kennedy Recreation Complex and found TJ unresponsive in a swimming pool. Police say lifeguards and paramedics performed CPR on the boy, but they couldn't save him. The child died at a hospital.
I got these terrifying messages. She just texted me. She was extremely nervous.
LaBeouf Strauss tells 5 on your side before rushing to Cardinal Glennon Hospital, her frantic daughter sent her several text messages. The grandma lives in Denver. One message said TJ drowned and they have him in the ambulance trying to revive him. The mom also said, I'm at the hospital waiting for him to arrive, and within minutes.
Only she called me and she told me on the phone, TJ is gone. It's just like a bad dream because I just talked to this child. I just saw him.
St. Louis County spokesman Doug Moore says the county parks department is conducting an internal investigation. Moore says they are talking to everyone who was there in the pool at the time and interviewing the 5-day camp staff members who were on the pool grounds. Moore also says investigators will review video taken from security cameras. TJ's grandma, a veteran international photojournalist, says she won't stop until she gets answers.
It is a great loss. I was thinking he will be a leader, he will be a star.
TJ had 3 older siblings. Now tonight his parents tell me they are still planning his funeral. Live in South St. Louis County, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Breaking tonight, a 5-year-old is in the hospital after getting shot in the leg. It happened around 6:30 on Lelite Avenue, just outside of Jennings in North St. Louis. Less than 30 minutes ago, police confirmed this shooting is considered accidental. Child abuse workers are now investigating. This is the 72nd shooting involving a child in St. Louis this year.
Also breaking tonight in Madison County, Missouri, authorities just released information about human remains found this morning. Their search for a Creve Corps man led them to this rural area south of Frederickstown. Timothy Dees disappeared in February. Tonight, investigators have not confirmed whether these remains are Dees.
Tonight, St. Louis County leaders want answers about the deaths of 2 county jail inmates happening within a matter of weeks. It comes as results of an audit into operations at the jail will be made public in just hours. 5 on your side's Brent Solomon joins us live in Clayton with what he's learning. Brent.
Well, members of the St. Louis County Council say it's simple. They want to know about incidents here at the jail when they happen, like when a second inmate died in custody just last weekend. Take a look at your screen right now. I want to break down exactly what we're learning tonight. It marks the second inmate death in less than a month. In both cases, the inmates had to be rushed to the hospital. During a county council meeting this week, Councilman Mark Harder says the council shouldn't have to hear about cases like these days later in the media. He says leaders should know exactly what's happening when it happens.
and it's somebody that came in with no symptoms on a Thursday and had died by Saturday. Is there something going on over there we need to know about?
County Executive Sam Page responding. He says, generally speaking, there's a big fentanyl problem in the area. And when inmates are booked, some of them may be suffering from symptoms of withdrawal. This comes as results from an audit into overall jail operations will be unveiled tomorrow. The audit was performed by an outside company and will provide 72 recommendations to the county. Back live now, it will reveal a staffing shortage right here at the jail, but those auditors insist that operations here are, quote, orderly and safe. Tomorrow's presentation will happen at 9:15 in the morning, and of course, we'll bring you the very latest as soon as we get it. I'm live tonight outside of the St. Louis County Jail. Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Tonight, a new battle over giving St. Louis women access to abortions. Mayor Tashara Jones signed a bill this morning authorizing $1 million in ARPA funds to help pay for out-of-state travel expenses. $500,000 will go toward reproductive health care services. The law is in a response to last month's decision by the Supreme Court to overturn the federal right to abortion. And just hours after today's signing, Missouri Attorney General announced that he would file a lawsuit saying the bill violates Missouri law. In a statement, Eric Schmidt says his office filed suit to put a stop to Mayor Jones and the City of St. Louis Board of Aldermen's blatant, illegal move to spend Missourians' hard-earned tax dollars on out-of-state abortions.
Tonight, a man charged in the death of retired St. Louis Police Captain David Dorn is no longer facing second-degree murder charges. Mark Jackson was sentenced to 5 years of probation today. Prosecutors dropped the murder charge in exchange for Jackson's testimony against Stefan Cannon, who was convicted yesterday in Dorn's murder. Jackson admitted he was behind the wheel of the getaway car after Cannon shot and killed Dorn while looting a pawn shop.
Meteorologist Jim Castillo is in for Scott tonight. Another day of extreme heat. So, Jim, how high did that heat index get?
Yeah, Mike, it got up to 101 in St. Louis, so that's not as bad as it's going to get the next couple of days here. I'll have that in Maine weather. But this also came out today. So this is that new drought monitor. And you can see the severe drought inching into Crawford County through all of Phelps County and part of Reynolds County. So just southwest of St. Louis County, we definitely have moderate to severe drought conditions. So a heat advisory starts up tomorrow at Friday at noon and lasts all the way into Saturday. I'll have much more on these numbers, plus a nice cool down and a rain chance coming up in just a bit.
Jim, we'll see you then. Missouri farmers have dealt with a lot of heat and little rain this summer.
Today, Governor Parsons signed an executive order accelerating drought relief. As 5 on your side's Elise Schoening shows us, local farmers are being left behind for now.
We're toughening all these plants up, okay, to withstand this heat.
It's an obstacle no farmer wants to face. But with excessive heat and little rain, many Missouri farmers need help. Today, Governor Parsons signed an executive order aiming to help Missouri farmers fight the drought.
Drought this time of year can quite literally mean financial loss and even ruin.
The governor signed an executive order declaring 53 counties in southern and central Missouri under a drought alert. His main areas of concern are the counties in dark orange and red.
I am further directing all state agencies to examine how we may assist affected communities through the temporary suspension of administrative rules, appropriations, and other means of support to mitigate the effects of drought conditions.
The governor's order paves the way for farmers to have access to more water. Today I spoke to Tom Goki, a farmer in St. Charles County. His area is not under the drought order, but he's already tapped into his own ways of having access to more water.
Everything on this farm is on drip irrigation. No more overhead, wasting water.
Now, one of the ways they're able to beat the heat here at Goki's farm is through something known as drip irrigation, which basically means that despite the outdoor temperatures, each crop is able to get the amount of water that it needs to grow to its fullest.
In the past, we really couldn't prepare for much of anything. You were just at the mercy of Mother Nature.
Goki's farm is clear of the drought alert for now, but the governor says he'll add any other Missouri counties to the alert if they enter severe enough conditions. For now, Goki says he's putting his faith into all the work he can do now and into his plans. In St. Charles County, Elise Schoenig, 5 on your side.
We're not getting relief from the heat. We are seeing some relief at the pump. For the first time since May, Missouri's average price of gas is only $4 a gallon because of low demand. AAA says that's 20 cents less than last week, but prices are still more than $1 higher than we saw a year ago.
Tonight, the hearings continued in Washington to discuss former President Trump's alleged inaction during the attack on the U.S. Capitol. And the committee brought up Missouri Senator Josh Hawley's actions before and during the riot. Representative Elaine Luria said this picture showed Senator Hawley riling up the crowd, and it bothered her because he was protected by officers and barriers. Then the committee released security footage showing Hawley running from the mob hours after that photo was taken. In an emotional testimony from an anonymous White House security official, he explained how security members feared for their lives.
There was a lot of yelling, a lot of very personal calls over the radio. So it was disturbing. There were calls to say goodbye to family members. It was getting, for whatever the reason was on the ground, the VP detail thought that this was about to get very ugly.
To hear more of the testimonies, you can head to ksdk.com.
I can't even tell you how many times I've been slapped or my hair pulled or just shoved out of the way.
Unprovoked violence happening every day inside our hospitals.
I had feces thrown at me. People fill a urinal and just chuck it at you.
The I-Team uncovers what needs to be done on a national level before our healthcare workers can feel safe.
It's hot and only going to get hotter and more humid, but there's some relief on the way. Coming up, I'll tell you when we have a chance of some storms.
Healthcare workers tell our I-Team abuse on the job is out of control. Their concerns come almost 2 weeks after a stabbing at a St. Louis area hospital that left a nurse with a severed artery in her neck.
Our Paula Bassan spoke with nurses saying this is happening too often, and it's time for that to change. A warning, you may find some of the details and photos in this story disturbing.
Patient just started stabbing people in triage.
It's always been something's going to happen. It's going to happen one day. It's going to happen.
Bridgeton PD is also up there at the ER.
And it happened.
2 healthcare workers here, stabbed in the head, neck, and back by a patient.
DePaul is currently on lockdown.
They'll have lifelong injuries.
And this was an unprovoked, disgusting act of violence. I was literally nauseous and sick when I heard the news.
Because Shelley Miller knows it could have been her. The victims are her friends. She worked a 12-hour shift here the day before.
I can't even tell you how many times I've been slapped or my hair pulled or just shoved out of the way. Like you go to start somebody's IV, they're like, don't touch me, and they just push you out of the way. I had feces thrown at me. People fill a urinal and just chuck it at you.
The violence reflected here in this surveillance video we obtained from staff.
So this is the triage desk here.
Miller says it shows where her colleagues were when they were stabbed and highlights a pattern of violence. This happened about a year ago. A man comes into the emergency room, tries to punch a nurse, and then throws a chair at someone's head.
And this is what you go through?
Right. No one heard about this. Nothing happened, as far as I know.
We've talked with nurses inside and outside of the hospital system. This is the impact of attacks from patients. Bruises, stitches, and blood. Healthcare workers wrote to us about being kicked in the shoulder, scratched, bit, and slapped. Pregnant nurses have complained about being kicked in the stomach.
Do you think hospitals are turning a blind eye to the violence that's happening?
Absolutely.
We asked SSM Health for an interview. A spokesperson turned us down. But in an email, they say they're in part hiring more security officers, adding metal detectors, and enforcing more training.
Healthcare workers say violence on the job isn't just a problem here. It's pervasive, underreported, and getting worse. Many say change will only come with national legislation.
On the table, Senate Bill 4182. The bill passed in the House of Representatives. Now it's awaiting a vote in the Senate. If it becomes law, there would be national minimum requirements for healthcare and social service employers to prevent workplace violence. Right now, there's no timeline for when that could happen. Critics of the proposed legislation worry about cost and implementation. Advocates argue it would make workplaces safer, with improved staffing and better tracking of violent incidents. Because right now, there is no federal requirement for employers to record workplace violence, unless it results in death, restricted ability, or days away from work.
It's so frequent that you get injured that you don't really think twice about going back injured.
Trevor Wolf, a nurse with the Missouri Nurses Association, believes those injuries are often ignored. He says he didn't hear from police or prosecutors when he filed 4 police reports in 1 year for attacks that landed him on a stretcher. The reason, he says, is often because patient privacy laws make it harder for law enforcement to hold attackers accountable.
They need records from the hospital to do so, and the facilities block that access of records.
Despite the pain, nurses like Miller keep coming back.
I've been a nurse longer than I've been anything else in my entire life. That's who I am. It's part of my identity.
What do you think needs to change to make you feel safe going to work?
We have to have consequences for your actions.
Healthcare workers also say it's up to employers to improve safety with better staffing and more security, for example. Right now, Jamisa Rivers has been charged with 4 felonies over the stabbing of 2 healthcare workers last week. She remains in jail tonight without bond. Prosecutors say she could be back in court in the next couple of weeks.
A young St. Louis man is dead tonight after running out of water on a hike in South Dakota. Police say Maxwell Wright was on a hike with his friend in Badlands National Park on Wednesday. They were on an unmarked trail featured in a social media challenge. The 22-year-old Wright collapsed and died from suspected dehydration and exposure. His 21-year-old friend survived. The Mayo Clinic lists these symptoms to watch if you suspect someone is dehydrated: extreme thirst, dark-colored urine, fatigue, dizziness, and confusion. Call a doctor if a loved one is irritable or disoriented, has bloody or black stool, is much sleepier than usual, or can't keep down fluids.
We are seeing some dangerous heat here in the bi-state this week. Brutal heat. So important to stay in that air conditioning. Meteorologist Jim Castillo is in for Scott tonight. And could we see, you mentioned 110 earlier as a heat index.
Yes, and that'll happen on Saturday. So that's our hottest day, although tomorrow's very hot. Heat advisory starts up at noon, guys, and then lasts through at least Saturday. But Sunday, probably just as hot before a really good chance of rain in here, and then off and on next week. We need it, and it looks like it's going to happen. So 89 right now. Boy, it feels like 90 even at this hour. 42% on that relative humidity. Now, 98 was the high today, 72 the low, and the averages are about 90 and 71. So very much above average once again. It only gets hotter from here. So we're in between a couple of fronts, very weak fronts, but there is even soupier, more humid air just south of this, which is a warm front down around Springfield. And then we have severe weather chances just to our north on Saturday. Looks like we'll miss out on that, but Sunday night that could drop down a little bit further as that dip in the jet stream, there it is, moves our way. So the storm tracks through Chicago currently, and then this high pressure flattens a little bit. We're still in that really hot air through at least Sunday. And then here comes that storm chance by Sunday night and into Monday. So this is what it looks like in the Futurecast. Not much going on tomorrow. Some of the models try to bring in a chance of rain, but it looks like Saturday morning, maybe our eastern Illinois counties could get clipped by a shower or a thunderstorm. And then by Sunday, rain chances are a little bit better, especially at night. Then as we go into next week, look at what a lot of the models are showing now, at least 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in this blue area. That's the entire viewing area. Could see more, though, when you're dealing with thunderstorms. And, of course, above average precip. That's according to the Climate Prediction Center, so we'll watch for that. So things should be changing, but it's hot tomorrow, hot Saturday, hot Sunday, and then Monday, a 50% chance of showers and storms. I even think Sunday night we're going to see that, and then highs cooling down Monday to 88 and kind of stabilizing with the temperature throughout the week.
Temperatures, but we'll see some rain. It looks like a chance every day next week.
Yes.
All right, Jim, thanks. Scott, I was going to say Scott, but you're Jim. Jim, thank you. Frank is next with sports.
Well, my coach drink has landed another, the Charles Barkley decision. And could two superstar athletes be coming to our town to play? Stick around, please. So Eli Drinkwitz is trying to do something rather remarkable. That is, make Mizzou a powerhouse in the nation's best conference, the SEC. And as one coach once said, the three most important things are recruiting, scheduling, and recruiting. And you can't deny his success in recruiting in his first 2 full seasons. A year ago, Mizzou was ranked 19th. This past year, partially because of Luther Burden III, the Tigers were ranked 12th. The best 2 classes ever for Mizzou. And the celebration continued tonight in the Ozarks. Here was Drink and the coaching staff's reaction to the commitment from 2023 receiver Joshua Manning. He's a 4-star electric player from Kansas City who chose Mizzou. K-State was the early leader, but Drink pulled it off. Manning is 6'3" with great ball skills. Seal the borders, Coach Drink. So St. Louis City 2 will be in action tomorrow at SIU Edwardsville. Their goalie will be Roman Berkey, who got quite a greeting when he arrived in town 2 weeks ago. Berkey is a top goaltender out of Germany. He will also be the goaltender for St. Louis City SC next spring in the MLS. So we're about 7 months out now from the first St. Louis City SC game at Centene. Construction is rolling along, and with players already being added to the team, everybody is ready to get this thing going.
In short, everything's ready to go. So let's move up the season and start playing right now, because everything is absolutely next to being ready. It's a homecoming, not an expansion team, because St. Louis has been longing to be in this league since 1996.
One of the most interesting stories in sports will be the decision by Charles Barkley. Arguably the most popular sportscaster in the world is due to make a decision about joining the LIV Tour as a golf analyst. If Greg Norman gives him that blank check, he may be gone from TNT basketball forever. The thinking a while back was make your son a catcher and he will always have a job. Make him a quarterback and he will get paid. Kyler Murray just got a 5-year extension from the Cardinals for $230 million. $160 million is guaranteed. He will now make an average of $46 million a year. Only Aaron Rodgers makes more at $50 million a year. Good work if you can find it. Finally tonight, frankly speaking, we are in a fascinating time period in St. Louis sports. And the 2 guys running our franchises have big decisions to make. And John Mozeliak and Doug Armstrong have so much in common too. Born 4 years apart. They live 2 miles from each other. They have 2 kids and 1 championship. Even their winning percentages are incredibly similar. Mo's been here for 15 years and Doug for 11. And now they both have a chance to make franchise-defining decisions. Does Army bring Matthew Tkachuk back home? I'd say there's a real chance. Does Mo give up all those precious prospects for the great Juan Soto? I'd say unlikely. But imagine if it all happened in the same summer. 2 superstars coming to St. Louis. It would be just another thing that Doug Armstrong and John Mozeliak have in common. And if you need any validation on their greatness, remember Matthew Tkachuk is 24 and coming off a 102-point season. And Juan Soto is 23, a batting champ, a career 400 on base, and a 900 OPS. And that will do it in sports.
Frank, thanks.
We'll try any tricks we can to beat this heat, right? The funny way animals are staying cool. City Foundry STL is hosting a grand opening Saturday night for its new art gallery, Vacancy Gallery. The first 360 visitors will receive a free piece of art. The event is free and open to the public with free beer and live music.
The most recognizable butterflies in the world are disappearing. Scientists have added monarch butterflies to the endangered list. The Missouri Botanical Garden says planting wildflowers can help save them. And tomorrow, the St. Louis Zoo will offer tips on how to help save them.
Here's one way to beat the heat. It's called splooting. It's It's when animals like these squirrels lay flat on their stomachs and spread all fours across the ground. They don't sweat or pant, so that's how they try to cool off. These pictures are from our sister station in Dallas, but I'm sure animals are doing their fair share of splooting across the bi-state.
That's how I see my dog when I get home at night at 11 o'clock, just like that.
It's
flat,
miserable, yeah.
Yeah, flat on his tummy. There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
He has Ryan Gosling tonight. Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.